Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, the weekend anyway. I hope yours was good. Ours is here. It was very busy, but not too busy not to bring you album review Saturdays. This is episode 36. This video will reiterate the three albums that are on the blog, and that's the Lovecraft Sextet's record, The Horror Cosmic, Thea Gilmore, self-titled record 20 albums later. And of course, a debut from Terromania called Nyctophobic, which is a fear of night, nyctophobia. And that, of course, from our friends at Rippled Music. But beyond that, I have three more albums that if you wait to the end of the video, you can catch those as well, which are not on the blog. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. We'd be ultra thankful if that was to be the case, and you wouldn't miss out on YouTube shows like these that we produce. And you'll be notified of other shows that we do, like albums from the Leaf, album listen challenges, catalog review shows, and coming up all of December, from December 9th on, my ranking of the top 23 albums of 2023. Please leave a comment if you would, and we'd love to hear what you're listening to, what you think of these albums, if you've listened to them as well. And of course, hit that like button because, well, without it, we're not in the likability range, right? When you don't get to see us as much. Let's dive right into the records here. Let's start off, of course, with one out of left field. I had no idea of their existence, etc. But what happened was I was searching for Red Snapper. No, I wasn't fishing. But Red Snapper is a band that next year, I'm going to put that on one of my first Unknown Sundays that I do as the new programming starts next year. This is a band that I've been in love with for a long time and keep following. But so I was just looking at Red Snapper. Maybe they had a new record or something. And then I see this tribute to Red Snapper. I mean, who does a tribute to Red Snapper? It's great to hear that somebody's doing that. So I thought it was a compilation album. But in actuality, it's from this band called the Lovecraft Sextet. And their latest album was called, and just released a few weeks ago, called The Horror Cosmic. So I find out that it's basically the multi-instrument brainchild of Jason Conan from Manser. He was also in a project called Kilimanjaro Dark Jazz Ensemble, or Mount Fuji Doom Jazz Corporation, which I'll be checking those out too. The brilliant mind here from the Netherlands, I do not know whether he actually is doing all the instruments on here, because it was very hard to find out if there were a list of other artists, but he is multi-instrumentalist. And he actually might have coined the phrase or the terminology dark jazz. So, but let's face it though, if that's the case, whether he did or didn't, he's definitely the one bringing it so truthful to the music and the projects throughout the music multiverse. It's exciting, it's engaging, it's never ever boring, and it's not over the top, it's not cheesy. It's very foreboding melody and this journey that hints at classical, but a very moody jazz and emotional compositions that meld throughout the environment that it's in. You got saxophone, piano, drums, bass, vocals, and whatever else is in there to form that sextet. If there's a Rob Zombie of the jazz world, he might have that title, right? This soul throne sitter, right? He'll sit on that throne, helming the deep sound, leading the underworld to the music surface. So that it came to my ears just recently. This is not to be missed. And De Profundis is our pick for the instrumental song of the year. So let's take a listen to that, as the elements of it here hold that kind of Sting's Bourbon Street. Cosmic is a Lovecraftian cosmic horror short story which dives into the existential dread of infinite nothingness. The album was composed as a soundtrack to accompany the illustrated short story and his expanded step into the multidisciplinary aspect of the Lovecraft Sextet project. Therefore, this release should be listened to as a soundtrack with compositions working to accentuate a specific mood to the specific chapters of the story. The Horror Cosmic will also be released as a very limited custom hardcover illustrated short storybook with a special vinyl colored LP, that coming from the Bandcamp page. So do not miss this one. It really is a knockout of a record. Next up is another artist that should be on the Unknown Sundays and will probably be so on the first ones of the year as I start doing those. And that's Thea Gilmore, the Oxford singer, songwriter extraordinaire, who's been doing this since like 1998. She's chosen her 20th album to be self-titled. The whole damn thing she did herself, apparently, including all the instruments. Now, this added loop and sampling and some talking arenas, which is a little bit out of the wheelhouse that I remember of hers. So why haven't you heard of her? Well, kudos for you that have, because you can find a great singer-songwriter and you know it when you hear it, because I'm not sure if she's ever crossed the pond to the northern part of our hemisphere. Coming this late in her catalog, I'm paying closer attention to the lyric mood of the tracks, because with it being her name, I'm figuring that these tracks are probably going to be more soul-bearing accomplishments. And I don't think I was really disappointed there, because Hope and Fury, Unravel Me, The Next Time You Win confirms some of that. And she moves her listeners throughout the album in the heart and beauty and pain that she has a tendency to work you through. Now, I want you to realize at this point in the article and at this point in this video, she had an album called Afterlight, I want to say. Is it Afterlight? That I didn't know about in 2021. So I didn't look back at it. I didn't listen to it. And I still haven't listened to it as of this video. I will, though. But I noticed that the first track of this record has a loop and sample experimentations at first, which is a little off guard because she's such a basic singer-songwriter and instrumental player, usually acoustic in that world. I had not considered that in her style, but it works rather well. And it does move you to concentrate on the lyrics a little bit more and the tension, as well as her beautiful delivery. And it can take you right down to the ashes, as Bones points out right after. And what I liked about it was there's a dynamic attention to the connection, her passionate awareness, and a very controlled delivery that's well grounded in familiar rhythms that she's done from time to time, and worldly hymns, which she's really good at, like Talking Out of Tune, Home, and The Bright Service, which ends the record. Here's Talking Out of Tune, so you get a feel. It's another one-woman triumph that requires paying closer attention to and does her entire catalog justice. Finally, a true unknown. That's right, a debut record. And that's from our friends at Ripple Music, who, they put out some really good stoner, doom, metal, rock, all kinds of stuff that we're always paying attention to. They seem to have a very good knack of artists from across anywhere in the world. These guys are called Terromania, and it's their debut record, Nyctophobic. Nyctophobic is nyctophobia is a fear of darkness and night. And while I can't say that I'm like scared of the dark or anything of that nature, I'm a night lover. So this album is very intentful. It's reminding you of every facet of it. It's doing some crunching and shredding guitars, old school throbbing vocals, which wonderfully have this wonderful timing of screams and growl in some cases, which is kind of cool. And a European dark harmonies that lift the experience into a progressive nature, along with some of the guitar work, aka the idea of Devin Townsend. I think they love the Van Halen kind of thing, although there's no mimicking of it. And I even hear like Nicky Strauss, Zakk Wylde. The vocalist and the idea of it seems to lead me into a slight bit of cheese here and there, but I hear what Alice Cooper might do, but not overly. It's well produced, it's determined, and surprisingly fun debut album for me. Metal is not dead by any account, and Terromania is a dark example of what's lurking in shredding shadows of the music multiverse of Finland and other places in the world. So always be on the lookout for Ripple, and Terromania should wind up making another record, I would assume. Finally, what are those 3 albums that I'm bringing as extras? Well, just so you know, I'm not going to showcase any of the songs because I had an issue with it being blocked, 2 of them. So I didn't want to have not all 3. So none of the 3 are on it, but I think you get the idea based on what I'm going to tell you. So the first one up is Kurt Rosenwinkel and Jerry Allen. Jerry Allen's a piano player. Kurt Rosenwinkel obviously is a jazz guitarist. He's well known. So is Jerry Allen technically, but this is a wonderfully arranged piano and jazz guitar duo, kind of a live performance, and the 2 do acknowledge each other's tracks as well as dive into Thelonious Monk, among others. And it's a splendid contemporary jazz composition, really well done. It's easy listening, and of course, with Rosenwinkel at the guitar, there are some nuances and steps that go along with it that really I find engaging. I think he's one of the best solo jazz guitar players in the world, and I'm not alone in that regard. So next up, Amos Lee. Okay, he's got a record out, and it's called Honeysuckle Switches. And I find out that it's the songs of Lucinda Williams. So here's a brave man covering Lucinda Williams, one of the most coveted gravel alt-country rock stars of our generation. And I think he does a wonderful job of this in his indie folk rock guitar style. While they don't have the gravel vocal here in the arrangement and passion in which he is relating to the alt-country artist, well, he's doing a very good job. It's well done from start to finish with a very tight and a great rendition of Get Right With God. There's a moving cover of Compassion, which is really nice, and an elegant version of I Envy the Wind. Fans of Lucinda will love that someone's giving her the accolade that she deserves and a little bit of a treatment. But when it comes to the originals, Lucinda Williams is hard to beat. Can anyone else do this? Maybe there is, but I'm grateful that he did this. I think it was a much better record than his prior. It's very well, I guess it's probably the familiarity of having it being Lucinda Williams' lyrics. But just be aware, though, that on our version of this, there is a recording of Sweet Old World. And it's not Sweet Old World. I believe it's actually either another rendition of I Envy the Wind or the exact track just laid differently. So in the digital side, there's an error. Finally, I dove into Leslie Odom Jr.'s new record, When a Crooner Dies. When I saw the cover, I kind of figured that he was going to go a little bit more nostalgic. He's got such a wonderful, soulful voice. His delivery is extraordinarily engaging, and he can probably sing anything in any genre. And I think there's no question that the talented singer here is going back what's close to his heart. He loves the power vocal, that storytelling, the importance of the delivery over, in some cases, minimalism of a track, like just simple piano or even an ambient piece, which is relevant or is present in this record. He utilizes some very good songwriting with metaphoric connections to the past, as is evident even from the album cover being a little bit of a throwback in color and design. And he rides waves from soul, he does R&B, got that contemporary feel though in all of it, and more that effortless and peacefulness that transcends putting him into any category. I do like that when he was asked about the record, where it should be placed in genre, he just said, I prefer that it would be in staff favorites, like the old Blockbuster used to be. So there's another throwback he put out there. But please note, he doesn't throw back all the way. He is, using a crooner dies to entertain and be thoughtful and be a calming piece in the storm of all the music that's around us today, and as well as the noise that's around us today. So wonderful record from him, if you're into that type of music. So as always, we're on the web at www.beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Please like, subscribe, and comment as often as you possibly can. I do love to come back at everybody with their comments. It was really nice that last Wednesday, whatever it was when I released it, Dark Masson did reply to on our YouTube channels. That was very nice and cool. Thank you as always, and happy listening.